Mr. Noah King.
So I have one deal closed. That one deal is $25,000, and that was a coupon code, a coupon club lead. So it was a $29 lead.
If everything goes well, we are probably at least hitting 50K in the first 2 months of the journey.
Yeah, probably like 60.
Hello guys, and welcome back to our channel. This is Yuri, the head of sales with iSpeedToLead, and I'm very excited to have today Mr. Noah King, who are utilizing our platform, closing some deals, and was very nice of him to share some of the advice with you guys. Noah, nice to have you. And how did it all start?
Well, it started, I got into wholesaling primarily because I was trying to purchase a property. I really didn't even know what wholesaling was, but I was trying to purchase a house in Texas, got it under contract, and then decided that I was going to be moving to a different state. Was talking to a friend of mine, and he was like, man, you should just assign the deal, because it was a good deal. I was getting it for a really great price. Did that, made a lot of money on that. Didn't really think about going into it as a business because I really didn't understand it. About 3 months ago, I want to say, about 2.5 months ago, I came across RJ Bates and did some just research and had another deal that just kind of came across my table in St. Louis that I JV'd with a guy and made like $5,000 on that. And I was like, oh man, this is actually a viable business and a viable thing to do as a business. I have a construction company. And so that's what I do, is I do construction, remodels, all kinds of stuff. And then kind of jumped me down the path of looking at some of his stuff and looking at other people who do wholesaling on YouTube. Made a decision basically that I was going to do my best to go all in on this as much as I can, at least, with still running a business. Found RJ. RJ spoke very highly of iSpeedToLead. That's really all I've been doing, is just buying leads from y'all. And I had my first closing, which was a lead from you guys for $25,000. And so I felt like that was a pretty good start to me going into this venture.
Okay, and we'll get to the results, but you mentioned, yeah, we want to first learn about you. But yes, guys, so we're going to talk about the deals, including the 25K deal, which is exciting. But you work in construction, which is very cool. So do you mind telling us a little bit more about your business? Like, is it a couple of people? Is it a team? Where you guys operate? And does that help you in your wholesaling journey, and if yes, how?
So, I started in construction. I've been around construction most of my life, and I started in construction in Texas, where I used to live. Started out as a handyman. It was a great business, did pretty well, and then kind of started taking on bigger and bigger jobs and I had at one time 5 employees, and we were doing all kinds of jobs. Then when I moved from Texas, I'm now in North Carolina. And so when I moved here, I kind of just shut down, obviously, that, and I haven't really hired too many people. So I've been doing most of the work myself, just because it's low overhead and easier, and I make just as much money without the headache. So yeah, did that. What was the question? What was the rest of the question, though?
Does this experience help you at your wholesaling job right now?
Yeah, I actually think it does. I think it does, in the sense of being able to understand people's problems with, usually distressed houses or houses that are in disrepair. It helps me understand somewhat of what time and money is going to go into what needs to be done. But also, I think it just is easier to be able to talk about it with a potential seller and being like, hey, I get it. I'm a contractor. I understand what's going to take. And I think it also just lends to credibility for me as a buyer, having a construction company, even though I'm not really doing construction in the place that I'm buying the house or getting the deal in. It still lends some credibility to me as a buyer and as a, when I'm selling them or purchasing their house. So yeah, it does help in some ways.
And probably a little bit with cash buyers too, right? When you talk to the cash buyers on
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I didn't think about the disposition side of it. Yeah. It definitely helps being able to, lend credibility to them, saying that I understand what needs to go into it, but also, talking about pricing and numbers and stuff like that. It definitely makes a big difference, instead of just going off of a spreadsheet and saying, hey, I'm guessing it's going to cost this much per square foot.
And let me ask you that, just curious, because a lot of guys like you, I feel like, I might be wrong, but I feel like they would mostly focus on like fixing flips or maybe something like that. Are you wholesaling more? Are you fixing flipping as well? Or if not, like why? What's the primary focus?
I am strictly wholesaling. That's all I'm really trying to do and all I'm working at. And I think the reason why is because I have done construction for a long time, and I understand it can be very scalable to flip, but it's also pretty difficult. And I've found that the opportunity of being able to scale with less overhead and be able to scale to a bigger number quicker, I feel like wholesaling just beats flipping. I mean, at least for me, because I mean, I understand that when you get into a project, you're in it for 2 months, 3 months, some projects longer, and then you got to hold on to it. And so I appreciate the ability to just get in, get out, take a check. You're making less usually than the end buyer, the flipper, but it's also a lot quicker, and I can focus on other deals, you know, while I'm doing that instead of having to scale a team.
Okay, that's awesome. And how did you get leads before iSpeedToLead? Was it the first platform for you, or you tried something else before?
I didn't. Yeah. I mean, I really didn't. I mean, when I was looking for ways to get into wholesaling, you know, you see people pulling lists and stuff like that, and that just seems like a massive headache to talk to a lot of cold callers. I like the idea of a warm lead or someone who's actually reached out or has been reached out to you know, I'd rather pay a premium for those warm leads than sit there and bang my head against the wall trying to call old, you know, inheritance lead or you know, some list that I have to pull. So I didn't really look at any other venues. I did do one. I don't know if I should share the name, but I mean, like a direct competitor to you guys. I found that their pricing and also just their app interface was just pretty poor, and I hated that. And I love the way that y'all do it with being able to actually see where the leads are, like the little mini map. When you're choosing the lead from where, you can kind of like get an estimate of where it is in the metro city that you're, you know, focusing on, or the areas that you're focusing on, instead of just getting a blind lead in some area. And I don't know, I like the ability to be able to choose, especially with Coupon Club, being able to just choose what you're getting and where you're getting. I definitely gave them a very short shot, and then I found a lot of success with you guys.
And we appreciate that. So yeah, and that was my discussion. I wanted to ask you like North Carolina or Texas, but which one you like more?
Texas was very hot, man. I don't know. It was
okay.
Oh gosh, yeah. Anybody who's been around Texas, it's brutal. When the day that I left it was September 15th. It was 10:30 at night, and it was 95 degrees Fahrenheit outside. I went outside to eat dinner because it was like my girlfriend at the time and I were saying, "Hey, let's go eat dinner outside," and we were both sweating, and we were like, "This is terrible. Let's go inside." So no, I love it in North Carolina.
I got it. Okay. No, that's definitely a good reason. So which areas do you target like for closing deals right now?
Right now, my main markets, my main focus and where I've seen the most results for myself, Winston-Salem, Greensboro, like the Triad area, Atlanta, Georgia, and Charlotte, North Carolina. So those are like the three main markets that I've really been focusing on and have found the most success, because it's maybe less easy to find great deals, but it's much easier to dispo good deals, as opposed to somewhere like Peoria, Illinois, or somewhere like that's a much lower price point, a lot more dilapidated houses. It's just hard to move those deals unless you get it basically for free. Okay. So those are the areas that I found.
Why not to try to close some deals in Texas? I mean, I guess you have somebody still there, no?
I have closed a deal in Texas. Like I said, that the deal that I was trying to purchase was a 5-unit apartment complex, and I got it under contract, and I was going to buy it for myself, and then decided that I was moving and I didn't want to deal with renovating it from afar. And I made like a good amount of money on that one. But I think for me, and this may be a cop out, comping is a lot harder just because it's a non-disclosure state. So when you get on to look at a house in Houston, you can't just pull up PropStream and find what houses have sold around there for, because a lot of times that data on PropStream is very, very misguided because they don't have to disclose, and oftentimes the disclosures are pretty off. So yeah, I mean, it's a great market, and at some point I will start expanding, but I'd rather really focus on a couple markets and then start expanding as I see more success.
Okay, sounds great. So what kind of leads do you buy right now? Like, is it you mentioned Coupon Club, so I guess you're one of our Coupon Club members, and we appreciate that. Do you buy only Coupon Club leads, or you also buy something else?
No, I do coupon club leads, and then I do the 48-hour exclusivity. So I do exclusive leads as well, and those have been successful and have been good. I've gotten a lot of good leads. I mean, obviously, just starting out. I mean, I really just started wholesaling 2.5 months ago, 3 months ago, and so like a lot of the early stages of me starting was learning how to get on the phone and talk to people, and also do that simultaneously with comping and trying to understand like how to do all this at once, and also not just get a good price but get a great price so you can actually sell the deal. And so the first probably month and a half was like pretty clunky as far as getting going, but I feel like I've really hit my stride in the last 2 to 4 weeks with being able to actually start getting a lot more headway, also following up with the leads that have shown promise. So I've got some other stuff that's definitely in the pipeline that I'm just still following up with.
That's awesome. And no, it's very glad to hear. So tell us about what would you say, if any, what were the biggest mistakes you did like in first months and a half, if any?
Biggest mistakes, I would say probably my biggest mistakes are also my biggest strengths, which is I go pretty full on pretty quick. When I decide that I want to do something, I go all in. And I think early on, I kind of spent a lot of money on things that I didn't need to spend money on yet. Because when I first started, I tried to start marketing with another company and gave them a lot of money and didn't get anything from it. And so, and I paid them like $7,500 to just as a startup fee. Going into that it was a lot, and there wasn't really any results. So I wish I would have known about you guys a lot earlier, because I think $7,500 worth of leads would have done a lot more good in y'all's hands, and being able to get solid leads like I've seen, than, putting that in something that I didn't really know. So my probably biggest mistakes has been just going in and going all out and spending money on things that I didn't totally understand just yet to get started. And I could have probably been a little bit better about how I thought through all that.
But at least you don't have this analysis paralysis thing. So I think that's awesome. And so just to clarify, because this is, and whoever is listening, I'm hearing this first time too. So you spent $75 on the setup fee, or what did you pay for? Was it already some marketing?
$7,500 on a setup fee.
Okay.
Yeah, so, and then I would pay, for ad spend and stuff like that.
So did you spend anything on ads, or you decided it's
Yep, I did, and the results were non-results. I mean, it was pretty tough.
No, and this is just for curiosity. So how much did you spend on marketing on top?
On leads, on like ad spend?
Yeah.
Total probably like 6,000.
Okay, so it's 13K spend, and what was the primary issue with leads? I know like you cannot filter anything, so I can imagine, but what did you face? And was it Google or Facebook?
Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was the biggest issue?
On market, all of them were on market. I mean, like 90% of them were on market deals. People who wanted full asking price, kind of like, hey, I got my house on the market, wanted to see if you wanted to give me a cash offer, or they own the house for a year, brand new construction, and the offer that would have made sense for an end buyer would have been less than they owed. So it just can't make sense at all. Did
you get at least your own website?
Landing page.
Okay. Is it still with you?
I'm unsure. I have the URL, so yeah. I mean, I'm guessing.
So at least you have that for the future. No, that's sad to hear, but let's go to more positive things. Let's go to iSpeedToLead. So we understand. So you purchase leads only in your specific markets, right? Like Georgia, North Carolina.
I mean, I definitely bought leads at other places. When I see a deal that looks good or interesting in Texas or in Philadelphia or Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So I mean, I'm definitely always looking for a good lead. So if that means that it's other places, I'm just saying that those are the areas that I found the most, that I hone in on the most when I see a lead in Charlotte or Atlanta. I'm more prone to get a lead there. But yeah, no, I'm definitely buying leads other places.
Okay. And do you have any criteria how you pick leads on the marketplace?
I'm usually looking for ownership more than like 8 years, just so that there's enough equity in there. Looking for things that need repair, not getting stuff that have been recently renovated. So things that say like, hey, cosmetic or even like, full remodel. So those are things that I'm looking for. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much primarily, it's more the area and then those small criteria of like, hey, could there be a deal made if this person has owned the house for 15 years? Probably. If they're saying they need to sell it for inherited reasons, like they just now inherited it, and it's another one that I like. That's pretty much what I'm looking for. There's not like a specific criteria that I'm really honing in on, like, hey, I only buy these leads. It's just, if a deal looks like it makes sense.
So what would you say? You mentioned that you like that you could choose. What else do you like about iSpeedToLead? Like, what are the top things you like the most?
That's a broad question. How do you mean? Like, what do I like about the leads? Or
anything. Anything. Just if anybody asks, hey, what do you like about iSpeedToLead? We'll talk about results, but what else?
Like I said, I know I already mentioned this, but I like to be able to see where on the map the lead is coming from. It gives me an ability to understand that it's, either rural or in an area of, Atlanta that I'm like, hey, I know I have a buyer in North Atlanta. If it's a North Atlanta lead, then I know that I'm pretty, it's a good area. So I like that. I like the interface. I think it's pretty easy to use. The CRM is good, being able to sift through that. And I also appreciate the update you did to where you can click on the details and it doesn't take you all the way back to the landing page, how it just pops up the little window. I like that. I don't know. The leads have been good. I don't know what else to say about that. Just the leads have been, I've got a lot of answers. I've got a lot of contacts. It's not just a bunch of dead, numbers where people aren't answering. It's a lot of these people are answering the phone.
We assume that not every lead picks up the phone right away. So, but for how long do you stay on leads typically? Like how often do you call, text, email? What's the process?
Honestly, I'm working on a lot of that. Like I've only been doing this for a very short amount of time and I'm just now breaking into it. So I think that one of the things that I've been working on the last 2 weeks has been my tracking and KPIs of being able to actually grow a business and build something to where I have consistent follow-up, consistent, how I'm doing things. But usually, anyone that hasn't answered the phone is getting a call about every day. And sometimes twice a day, some people, where I know that they're a good lead. Like I'll call, I have a lot of leads in not a ton, but I have like a good amount of leads in my CRM, and I'm calling 90% probably every day of the people who haven't answered. And then the follow-ups, I'm working out how to follow up and keeping notes in the CRM to be able to follow up the right people.
Okay. No, that's great. And tell us about results. So how many contracts did we get? How many deals we closed? And how much money? What's our story?
Yeah. So I have one deal closed. That one deal is $25,000, and that was a coupon club lead. So it was a $29 lead. I've got probably 3 contracts. No, I've gotten more under contract than that, but there's been a couple of fallouts. But 3 that are under contract headed to close.
So did you close and got the profit from them as well, or?
No, they're headed to close. So they're under contract and disposed. And that one of them is $15,000 and the other one is $7,500. And then the last one it's kind of like getting renegotiated a little bit. So that's going to be around 10.
If everything goes well, we are probably at least hitting 50K in first 3 months of your journey.
Yeah, probably like 60.
Okay. No, that's awesome. Congratulations. And
thank you.
How you mentioned coupon club and you do exclusives, by the way. Let me ask that. Do you change your strategy, how you call, how your script sound like, especially if, let's say, lead was calling by multiple people, or is just
not one bit? Yeah, no, it's the same thing. I don't really use a script per se. I do follow a lot of RJ Bates' formula of being able to kind of have more of a conversation. I appreciate that because it's much more conversational, and I'm approaching it as a buyer instead of pitching a sale. And so, yeah, mainly it's just calling these people, and usually they're all saying, I've gotten called, a couple times, or, because a lot of people, they'll fill out multiple forms. Not really. I try to get them, figure out what they need, figure out what they have, and sell them on what I can do for them, not just price wise, but also to make their life a little bit more convenient.
What's your top 3 advice for any new wholesalers or for people who start using iSpeedToLead? Can be any. Just what would you say? Top three advice.
Top 3 advice. I would say probably number 1 would be pick up the phone and just start calling, and don't worry about having everything nailed down perfectly, because it's not going to get perfect until you really put in reps. And I'm not even there yet myself. I'm still really learning this as well. But yeah, I mean, I know people who have started and who really haven't made any calls or are scared to pick up the phone. And it's like, that's the only part of the business is picking up the phone. The other thing is be strategic. Like not like I was, be strategic with how you go into it. Have a little bit of money to be able to put into it and start, and be strategic with how you spend that money, because you gotta be able to buy leads to keep the wheels turning, and just keep calling. Honestly, I don't even know if I have any other advice than just that. It's just keep calling. Just call, just hound them. Don't get in the mind frame of I'm bothering someone, or they said that they need a higher price. Like, everybody wants a higher price, but sometimes that's not what makes sense, even for them. So just keep banging the phones. That's all I've been doing, is just I'm making probably 60, 70 calls a day, oftentimes with the same people. Maybe if they didn't answer, and then I'm following up with people once a week, once every 2 weeks, of people who have wanted too much, or maybe wanting to sell but they're wanting to hold off. I've gotten a lot of people lately that are wanting to hold off until the new year for tax reasons and stuff like that. So I got a lot of notes to call people after the new year, and just keep calling. That's all I gotta say.
No, I appreciate you. Thank you for being our client. And guys, that was Noah King. How people can connect with you? So if anyone wants to,
how can people connect with me? I mean, my Instagram, it's noah.h.king. You can watch me there, and I have, that's pretty much it. I don't really do much anywhere else, just Instagram.
So if you guys are local, or you want to just hang around with Noah, just get his advice, or just check in how's it going, and maybe collaborate. Make sure to reach out to him on his Instagram. And it was nice to have you. Excited to see more of your success, and thank you for being our client.
Absolutely, Yuri. Appreciate it, man.
Subscribe, guys, to see more. Take care.